Let us see how to calculate standard deviation for a group data, that is, when there is a frequency distribution table. Now the formula for standard deviation for a group data is given by sigma, which is equal to square root of summation fd square divided by n minus summation fd divided by n the whole square. Here f denotes frequency, n is the total of frequency, and it can be calculated by taking the total of the f column, that is the frequency column, summation f. And finally, d is known as deviation, which can be calculated by x minus a. Now, x is the midpoint of a class, whereas a is the assumed mean. Okay, let us take a simple example to see how this works. Let's prepare a table with class and frequency. The classes being 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and 70 to 80. The frequencies are 3, 5, 12, 20, and 10. Now we have the class. For the solution, we will have to start by calculating midpoints of these classes. Now midpoint is calculated by the formula lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. Now the lower limits and upper limits of a class, if we have to see, for the first class, 30 will be the lower limit, whereas 40 will be the upper limit. So while preparing our solution now, we will start by the first column, and that is our x column, which is nothing but midpoint. Now midpoint for the class 30 to 40 will be calculated as 30 plus 40 divided by 2, which is equal to 35. The next one will be calculated as 40 plus 50 divided by 2, and the answer is 45. Doing the same thing for the remaining classes, 50 plus 60 divided by 2, that is 55. The next will be 65, and finally 75. The frequency column we will copy as it is by denoting the symbol F and writing it, copying from our table above. It will be 3, 5, 12, 20, and 10. Now going back to our formula, we have f, but we need d and d square, and d is calculated by the formula x minus a. So going back, the next column that we need is d, which is equal to x minus a. Now we already have the x column. Our first column is the x column, but we do not have a. Now a, which is our assumed mean, can be any number of your choice from the x column. Any number. The formula is designed in such a way that you take any number from this x column, that is 35, 45, 55, 65 and 75. The answer will be the same. So since we are assuming the mean, let us assume 55 is the mean. The answer will be the same even if you take 35 or 65 or 75. It does not matter. So now that we have our assumed mean a, we can calculate d, which is x minus a. So for the first row, it will be 35 minus 55, and the answer is minus 20. The next 45 minus 55, the answer is minus 10, and so on. 55 minus 55, that is 0. 65 minus 55, the answer is 10, and 75 minus 55, the answer is 20. Now that you have d, you also need d square. According to the formula, you also need d square, and that is nothing but taking the squares of all the elements in the d column. So let us do that. That is minus 20 square, which is equal to 400, minus 10 square, which is equal to 100, and so on. 0 square will be 0, 10 square is 100, and 20 square is 400. Looking at our formula, going back, we need two things majorly. One is, if you look at the numerator of the first part, it is fd square, and the numerator here is fd. So we need two more columns, that is fd square and fd. So going back to our solution, and let us prepare those columns. One is fd square and one is fd. So now to calculate fd square, you have to multiply f, which is our second column, with d square, which is our fourth column. So multiplying f into d square, it will be 3 into 400, and the answer is 1200. 5 into 100, that is 500. 12 into 0, that is 0. 20 into 100, that is 2000. And 10 into 400, that is 4000. And we also need the total of this column, because in our formula it says summation of fd square. So taking the total, that is 7700. Now to calculate the last column, that is f into d, we will multiply f and d, which is the second and third column. So multiplying, it will be 3 into minus 20, which is minus 60. 5 into minus 10, which is minus 50. 12 into 0 is 0. 20 into 10, 200. And 10 into 20, 200. And we'll take the total of the last column also. The answer is 290. Now if we look at our formula going back, we have all elements except one, and that is n. We need to calculate n, but n here stated is the total of frequency. Now we have the frequency column, so if you just take the total of that column, you will get capital N. So going to our solution, our second column is the F column, and if you take the total of that, you will get N. N would be your total of F, that is 50. 3 plus 5 plus 12 plus 20 plus 10. The answer is 50. Now we have everything to calculate standard deviation, and standard deviation is given by the formula sigma is equal to square root of summation fd square divided by n minus summation fd divided by n the whole square. Solving this further, that is equal to square root of summation of fd square is here, this column fd square, our second last column, and the summation total is 7,700 divided by n, which we have just calculated, total of the frequency column F, that is 50, minus summation FD is our last column FD, and the summation, the total is 290, which will be 290 divided by n, that is 50, the whole square. Now solving this further, that is equal to square root of (7,700) divided by 50. The answer is 154. Minus 290 divided by 50, and the answer is 5.8, the whole square. That is equal to square root of 154 minus 5.8 square is 33.64. Solving further, this will be square root of 154 minus 33.64. The answer is 120.36. And finally, standard deviation is equal to square root of 120.36. And the answer is 10.97. This is how you calculate standard deviation for frequency distribution, that is a group data.